Oh, hi! Welcome to Zero Sum Gaming here at the Culture Cache. First off, I want to go with a shout out to Nathan from Knoxville, Tennessee for donating this game. We're still in our infancy, and for us to receive a donation this early, that is so flattering. Sincerely, I want to thank you, Nathan. So I've got a polarizing game for you on tap here today. It's a good one, but it doesn't always get that reputation. So what I want to do is show you Castlevania Dracula X. It's kind of the red-headed stepchild of the Castlevania series, but I'm not really sure it deserves that reputation. Come on, let's check it out.
The first word that comes to most people's mind when they think of Castlevania is the music. This game has excellent music. It's strange because it actually has inferior sound quality to the CD sound that Rondo of Blood produces, but a lot of fans actually think this one sounds a little bit better than even Rondo. Take a listen. Hopefully you recognize that track. Most longtime fans will. If not, no worries. But hey, either way we can all agree, that sounds great. The richness of this series of music is second to none. It's one of the things that draws me to it. So, this game, we gotta talk about how it fits into the canon for a minute, because it's very, very strange. Koji Igarashi had a habit of, he retconned a few things, and he put a few things into the same spot of story space. Some of them are fairly obvious, such as Castlevania and Super Castlevania 4. They have the exact same plot. They're both Simon Belmont destroying Dracula, so he said these two are the same game. Along with Haunted Castle, Vampire Killer, and Castlevania Chronicles. This game has a similar spot in the story where it shares its space with Rondo of Blood, and in some ways is built from Rondo of Blood. It also shares its space with the Dracula X Chronicles, which is very confusing. We have a Castlevania game called Chronicles, another one called Dracula X, and then one called the Dracula X Chronicles. Oh well, we'll get by. This game is built to do some very specific things. It's kind of like how if you play Castlevania 4, you know that that game was built around Simon's 8-way whip ability. This one, notice it doesn't have a timer. This game is built around the ability to take your time to plan your moves and be very, very specific and thorough in everything you do. It punishes hasty behavior and it rewards your patience. It wants you to be very, very, very careful in everything you do. Now, in some ways, you kind of get bit a little bit as a player. If you watch, anytime you get hit, and this happens a few times in this video, you have almost zero recovery time. It's actually very easy to get hit over and over and over again. And if you notice, that's why I take my time with these spear guys. Oh, got hit right there. So, I take the approach to attack from afar. You can bait them into that defensive spin move, and then throw a knife at them, and you can take them apart very, very easily. So, oh, you see what happens when I rush? I get hit, and then I get hit again, and it's all downhill from there. So, it's very, very important to use that resource of time that you don't often get in this series. I've come to really like the daggers in this game. In many Castlevania games, they're used as a trap because they're actually really weak and not that good. But in this one, they're fast, they're reasonably strong, and the built-in triple shot gives you a really wide range, so they've actually kind of become my go-to weapon as I play. So I'm in this hallway fighting these green sword guys, and you can take a look at my life bar. I'm pretty beat up. I'm gonna have to heal up or something. So at the end of this hallway, there's some meat. Awesome. But it's not quite enough to bring me up to full. So there's another trick you can use that's fairly unique to the series. I can go up to the next screen, reset all the candles, come back, and I can get the meat again. Without an in-game timer, it doesn't really matter. In fact, if you want to, you can even max out your hearts and have all the ammo you want this way. I already mentioned the item crashes in my article on theculturecache.com, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about them here, but they do need some mention. The way it works is if you have a large amount of hearts, usually about 15, you can do an item crash. You'll know because the heart counter starts blinking, and if it does, press X, good to go. Different weapons can do different things. Some are more useful than others. Like holy water in the rain looks awesome and it deals pretty consistent damage. The axe, it makes a ring of axes go around you, but it's one ring, so they basically only hit one time each. It's not all that useful. Doesn't mean the axe is bad, but it does mean its item crash is not all that good. You can use them defensively though for some brief invincibility, so there's that. Richter can also use a backflip. It's not as useful as you would think, but every now and then it comes in handy. Another fun thing that's introduced in this game is the sub-weapon swap. In prior Castlevania games, whenever you pick up a new sub-weapon, your old one is immediately gone. Doesn't matter if you meant to pick the new one up, it's gone. Like in Castlevania 4, let's say you had triple shot holy waters. That's about as good a thing as you can get, or maybe triple shot crosses. And then you, oops, I picked up a dagger. Now you're stuck with a single shot dagger. In this game, you can go right back to whichever one you previously had, and you're good to go. You have it again. Check out the graphics, by the way. They look great right here. This burning city, for people who have been playing in the series for a long time, may or may not recognize, is actually Algebra from Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. That's a cool little detail they managed to work in, and I really appreciate it. Like Rondo of Blood, this game does feature some branching paths. In this case, you'll notice there's a key here. You need that key later in the game, depending on the paths you want to take. It's a bit of a trade-off. The key does take your sub-weapon slot, which means you don't really have a useful sub-weapon, nor do you have a useful item crash. But that's not entirely true. You can hit someone with the key, and it does surprisingly good damage. It's equal to the axe. It just has very little range. But hey, on the upside, it doesn't take any hearts. And the other thing that's really funny, and I'm going to use it to effect here and survive this boss fight as a result of it, if you have enough to do the item crash, you still get the invincibility from a normal item crash, but the key does not actually consume any hearts. So in a way, you can spam the key as invincibility, even though it doesn't actually do much as an attack. In Rondo of Blood, once you rescue Maria Renard, she becomes a playable character. She's actually a lot of fun. She's kind of a glass cannon, but her silly, cartoonish little girly attacks give you a completely different playstyle from Richter, and it breathes a lot of life into the game. So it is with disappointment that you find she's not playable here. It's similar to how in Rondo of Blood there are 4 alternate stages, and in this game there are only 2. Still, that does give the game some replay value to have a total of 9 stages, even if you only visit 7 on any individual trip through the game. Did I read that right? But our princess is in another castle. Damn it! This game features some important characters to the Castlevania story. As mentioned, Richter appears in Rondo of Blood. He's a main part of the story in Symphony of the Night. He's a bonus unlockable in Portrait of Ruin, and he's one of the playable characters in Harmony of Despair. Similarly, Maria is in Rondo of Blood, as mentioned. In the Saturn version, you can play as her in Symphony of the Night, and she's there for story in all of them. She's one of the characters you can play as in Harmony of Despair. And hey, if beating up on little girls is your thing, and Maria just annoys you and you want to hit her in the face, you can do that in Castlevania Judgment. It's nice to have finally found a net way down here in this dark cave, but wait a minute, wasn't I pretty banged up a second ago? Now all of a sudden I have all my health back. I think I know how that happened. I was banged up before, and well, now, a little sexual healing was the answer. That's alright, I'm not going to judge. She's been down there in that cave for so long, and Richter really did a lot to get down there and save her, and after all, she is his fiancée. This game definitely has the classic Castlevania difficulty. I mean, You've played enough to know Medusa heads love to knock you in holes, kinda like that one. Of course, that's nothing compared to this Dracula battle. I mean, look at all these holes. You have a life bar, but it really doesn't mean a whole lot. The odds are good. If you get hit, you're going to go plummeting to your death, and you're going to be pretty pissed. For this reason, I don't feel any remorse for just totally spamming the item crash here with the cross and just completely obliterating Dracula. Is it cheap? Yeah, but as many times as he knocked me into that hole, honestly, I don't really care, so to hell with him. Anyway, now that Dracula is vanquished and the world is saved, let's talk about the endings. There are 3 of them in this game. The normal ending, the bad one, happens if you don't rescue either of the kidnapped girls. Richter rides off on his horse and completed the mission, but you didn't save your beloved or her little sister Maria. The medium ending is if you only save Maria. Strangely, the pain in Richter's face is greater in this one. It actually comes across as more sorrowful than the worst ending. The best ending happens if you manage to save both Maria and Annette. That's obviously the goal. Richter wants to destroy Dracula and save his, well, future family.
Alright, so after all of that, is this game worth it? I did some research and found that a loose copy of Dracula X goes for about $220 on average. That's a lot of money. This game is worth every penny of its $70 original retail price, and maybe a little bit more. $220 though? That's triple what this game went for new in the box when it first came out. If you are a collector, suck it up. You don't have a choice. You're pretty much going to have to pay for it, and people know it. It's part of why the price is so high. If you're a Castlevania fan, you're probably going to spend this as well. You're probably going to enjoy it. I have a great time playing this game. I played it because I was doing this video, but I enjoyed every second of capturing this footage for you, and I'm probably going to play it again as soon as I stop making this video right now. It's a great game. If you're a Konami fan, it can be one of those crown jewels in your collection of Konami greats. In this day and age, I'm not sure how many Konami fans there still are, but that's another video for another day. Is it right for average gamers? I don't think so. For $220, you can get better games or more games. Simply put, Castlevania 4 is a better game. Symphony of the Night, it's a different type of Castlevania, but it's a better game. And while it's a bit on the pricey side, it's nowhere near $220. So, if you are not one of those categories of collectors, Castlevania fans, Konami fans, maybe if you're a 2D platform fan, but I'm not sure you should go out and drop that huge chunk of change on a good game, but not a $220 good game. So if you are a Castlevania fan and you found this video, you're probably going to want to check out Bloodstained: Ritual of the Night. It's an independent project by Koji Igarashi, and if you're watching this video, you probably know who he is. The problem is, it doesn't come out until March of 2017. How can you pass the time? That's a long, long wait. I know. Why don't you go check out some other articles and videos here at the Culture Cache. Thanks for watching.